the inscriptions of the big temple, the first ever inscription that gets inscribed, in fact, is a beautiful record which talks about how did it and when did it strike upon Rajaraja the Great to get all the information etched on the temple wall. Striked on Rajaraja when he was having his bath. Yes, you heard me right. When he was having his bath. This is more like an Archimedes moment for Rajaraja. So he commissioned his royal scribe and ordered to get inscribed on the walls of the big temple all the endowments that he, his elder sister Kundavai, his wives, his ministers and others, all of them, to get inscribed on the temple walls was something that Rajaraja thought about as he was having his shower, and right at that moment, the royal scribe was commissioned and he was asked to get it all etched on the temple walls. I'm not going to be teaching to read inscriptions or anything. This is just going to be hand-picked stories from select inscriptions. We have tons of inscriptions, truckloads of inscriptions, ranging from around the 3rd century before Common Era up till probably even a couple of days back. So, majority of the authentic source of information of historic significance is from the inscriptions, and there have been several occasions where, from the forgotten past, from people unknown, we get to know a lot of stories about them from these inscriptions. Some of these accounts are better understood as happenings from the past. In fact, it would be very interesting to note the style of life that they led then, how things were happening, the temple administration as it was, and more. The inscriptions cover a vast range of topics, in fact. Whichever discipline you are interested in, there might be something for you from the area of your interest to be learned from inscriptions. So I've just taken up 5 stories and I'll be narrating them with the respective inscriptions and places from where they are picked. A little on inscriptions and how we use them. So the tradition of writing, there is generally this anecdote which says that people, the kids especially, love to draw before they write. Well, that's the case. So using a canvas to express your feelings, to record something, so that is where the concept of scribbling on walls or any medium for that matter starts. And these were written in 3 different formats, keeping records: the Shilasasana or stone etchings, then you have the Patrasasana, the palm leaf manuscripts, and finally the Tamrapatra Sasanas, which is on copper plates. Inscriptions starting from before the Common Era, say 3rd or the 4th century before Common Era, that's roughly 2,300 or 400 years back, till now. The Tamil language has gone through tremendous change for various reasons, starting from the medium on which it was written. Making sharp lines and curves would have been quite a challenge when it was only palm leaf on which they were writing. Or fabric, in some cases even fabric has been used to paint on it, to write on it and send that as a message. So all these are, of course, we would have lost them because they cannot stay for long. But other cases, in most cases, those that have been perennial, those that have managed to stay along are, we get to see that the script has evolved from very, very simple looking script to what it is today. So starting from there, apart from learning what it tries to tell us, we also learn the evolution of Tamil script with these inscriptions. So if you arrange these inscriptions in a chronology, you will have to know at least half a dozen different scripts of Tamil language to read them easily. And after a point, we do see, starting from around the 6th, 7th century Tamil inscriptions, we see a liberal usage of Sanskrit and Grantha script that you see. So in order to read these inscriptions at ease, it is definitely required that you know about Tamil and at least a basic working knowledge of Sanskrit and the Grantha script also to read these inscriptions, because starting from the Pallava period, around the 6th, 7th century inscription, a liberal usage of Grantha script and Sanskrit language in Grantha script has been there in these inscriptions. The first story is from the big temple, Tanjavur. As a temple, as an edifice of 10th century school of architecture, as a grand example of the mighty Cholas, this temple, I sincerely believe, needs no introduction. But to come up with an organization of this scale a good 1,000 years back, and to ensure that after constructing the temple, the day-to-day rituals, the traditions to be followed are all managed well, a very, very detailed and slightly complicated procedure was set up in place. The inscriptions of the big temple, the first ever inscription that gets inscribed, in fact, is a beautiful record which talks about how did it and when did it strike upon Rajaraja the Great to get all the information etched on the temple wall. The very first inscription, in fact, details or documents the story behind documentation, the importance of documentation for this temple. Apparently, this idea to get all these information etched on temple walls struck on Rajaraja when he was having his bath. Yes, you heard me right. When he was having his bath. This is more like an Archimedes moment for Rajaraja. So the inscription says on this corridor where this bathroom is there, when Rajaraja was having his shower, he commissioned his royal scribe and ordered to get inscribed on the walls of the big temple all the endowments that he, his elder sister Kundavai, his wives, his ministers and others, all of them, to get inscribed on the temple walls was something that Rajaraja thought about as he was having his shower, and right at that moment, the royal scribe was commissioned and he was asked to get it all etched on the temple walls. So this is a very important inscription, I would say. It might sound insignificant, but for the process of documentation, he gets the moment when he thought that documentation is important, also getting documented. That's very important, in fact. So from there, we have the long-running lines which talks about various deities in the temple, various endowments created for various activities. So it is not just about building the temple. Anybody can sponsor constructing a shrine in the temple. But believe me, what is more challenging is how we are going to get the rituals that's going to be conducted. So to get a deity installed is one part. Now in this case, I'm going to be discussing about what it took about maintaining or making one offering at the shrine of Ganesha in the temple. So many of us would have visited the big temple, and at the southwest corner, you see a small shrine for Ganesha. In this picture that you see the smaller shrine in the foreground, right? So that particular shrine is where the image of Ganesha is enshrined. And if you wonder whether that is what was built by Rajaraja, well, no. This particular shrine to Ganesha that is in active worship today was built around the 19th century by the local Maratha kings. Just behind this shrine is the image of Ganesha. This massive shrine for Ganesha, referred to as Parivara Alayattu Pillayar, was enshrined by Rajaraja, and that scale of Ganesha, the size of the image demands the quantity of food offering that is to be made. The bigger the size, the larger the quantity of food offerings. Now, the quantification of food offering is done through the prescriptions as seen in the Shaiva Agamas. So the Agamas are the foremost, the most important text when it comes to temple rituals and administration. So the Agamas prescribe as to what is the amount of food offerings that are to be made to the respective deities. Now here you have the concept of offering 150 bananas a day. That size of Ganesha demands that 150 bananas are offered a day. Now the king can obviously draft a command telling that, well, get 150 bananas offered every day. But what would be the case if there is a sudden drought in the country, and offering it from the king's coffers might not work out? And this is not the only shrine there. We have dozens of shrines there in Big Temple and many other places where the king alone cannot keep contributing. And more importantly, for a sense of belongingness, it is a mandate that offerings from the local public is always brought in. And the king wanted to ensure that such offerings made goes on till the sun and the moon last. Because most of the cases, the inscription gets over stating that this particular dharma, this particular endowment constituted, goes on till the sun and the moon last. So offering of 150 bananas per day. So for this, the king comes up with a scheme. He considers the entire temple administrative system as an exchequer. In fact, an organization that was functioning as a part of the complicated management of the big temple called as Rajarajeshwara Perum Pandaram, or the place where the institution associated with the temple which functioned as an exchequer. So they get to maintain the entire procedure. So going by the inscription, we for a day's offering, if you need 150 bananas, for a calendar year with 360 days, you'll need 54,000 bananas. Those days, for every kasu deposited, for one kasu, say a gold kasu, you will get 1,200 bananas. Yeah. So you will need 45 kasu to ensure that every day in a calendar year, one gets 150 bananas to be offered, or 54,000 bananas in total. So that will mean you'll need 44 kasu for a year's offering for the deity. For this 45 kasu, Rajaraja works out in the reverse order and engages not one or two, but 4 different banana merchants guild. For each commodity, there were active functioning guilds. The guild would comprise of various merchants who were selling the particular product, the particular commodity, the particular good. Yeah, in the case, there were 4 active markets, the outskirts of Tanjavur, probably wholesale markets, from where Rajaraja could source 150 bananas every day. So he comes up with a recurring deposit scheme in the name of 4 different merchant guilds, and they will be a remittance of 360 kasu divided between these 4 merchant guilds. 60 kasus by a merchant guild which was functioning on the highway called as Nitta Vinoda Street. Each of the street was named after a surname or a title of Rajaraja. Nitta Vinoda Street, Mummudi Chola Street, Veerashikamani Street, and Tribhuvana Mahadevi Perangadi. The 4th is named after Tribhuvana Mahadevi, one of the queens during Rajaraja's time. A market, a wholesale market, and hence called as Perangadi. Angadi is a Tamil name for a market, and a Perangadi is a wholesale market probably. So this 360 kasu for a year-long supply of 150 bananas per day was split between these 4 markets, each of which had a functioning guild of banana merchants. So this will have an interest of 12.5% on the recurring deposit, and that will fetch us 45 kasu annually. So a corpus of 360 kasu, let's assume each kasu is a gold coin, just an assumption. So assuming that there were 360 gold coins split between 4 different merchant guilds, and that gets deposited in their coffers as an RD, and this RD will fetch close to 45 kasu every year at a 12.5% interest rate. And this will ensure that every 1 kasu will give us 1,200 bananas. So 45 kasu a year, 45 coins a year will fetch us 150 bananas a year, or 54,000 bananas across the year. So this way, he ensured that there is an inclusion of 4 different merchant guilds. Now, if you're going to entrust the duty of offering 150 bananas every day to an individual, or say a minister, so procuring 150 bananas every day would be a challenge for him, for an individual. While merchant guilds will ensure that in one way or the other, there is enough supply of banana. They will be definitely connected with the entire Chola country, and some cases even beyond that. So ensure that there is at least 150 bananas brought every day would be an easy task for the merchant guild, for people who transact with bananas on a day-to-day basis. So their involvement is brought in. Secondly, a corpus deposit will mean that there is an interest which will fetch enough money till the gold is valid. Gold has been a perennial source of interest being fetched every year, and so probably Rajaraja assumed that not much of political change or social change would happen like ever. So till the time that the big temple exists, till the time Ganesha is there, getting him 150 bananas every day would have been an easy task. That was probably his assumption, and so he ensured that involvement of 4 powerful merchant guilds would make sure that these bananas are supplied every day. Now, the Ganesha's image that you see is the Murti installed during Rajaraja's time, called as Parivaralayath Pillayar in the inscription. And unfortunately, probably during the occupation of imperial army, this Murti gets vandalized. So he is not in active worship today, but you can see the Murti still. During the Maratha period, they've managed to construct a new Ganesha shrine, and an equally imposing Murti has been installed there and worshipped. He is the Sthala Vinayakar Ganesha today. But if you go there to the big temple, right behind the Ganesha shrine, which is in active worship today, is in a small niche seated this Ganesha, who enjoyed the offering of a liberal offering of 150 bananas every day during the times of Rajaraja, and probably for a couple of years at least after his rule too. Unfortunately, because of vandalizing, this Murti is not in active worship. So a simple case of offering 150 bananas a day has gotten itself so much of significance by involving merchant guilds and ensuring there is some activity for them. And a corpus deposit of 360 gold coins would have been a big deal for these merchant guilds to function too. And so at their own level, they will maintain that gold, get it invested in something, and that would fetch some benefit to them also. So getting this into a network and ensuring that there are several beneficiaries, and at the same time, beneficiaries who are worthy, who can be depended upon for an uninterrupted supply of 150 bananas per day, is what is to be understood from here.